What's up guys, Roman from RNS Entertainment here, and welcome to Comic History, the weekly series where I retell, explain, and give context to epic comic storylines, origins, and events. For the episodes coming out in October, I'm going to be covering comics with either a horror, Halloween, or otherwise seasonal theme. And what better to start off with, since I covered the full Marvel Zombies Volume 1 in a previous episode, than Marvel Zombies Halloween. A really fun self-contained story where we get to see what passes for Halloween in the devastated post-apocalyptic Earth 2149 universe of Marvel Zombies, as told through the lens of the X-Men's Kitty Pryde and her surviving family. If you're interested in Marvel Zombies, I also recommend checking out the full episode I did on the entire first volume, where the Marvel Universe is beset by a plague that turns all of your favorite heroes and villains into sociopathic undead monsters. If you're a horror fan or a fan of Robert Kirkman of The Walking Dead's writing, he did conceive this universe as well and wrote the first volume. This story is a Halloween special of sorts set in that same universe, and gives us a chance to see more of what happened to certain characters, along with just being a good Kitty Pryde story in general. Our story begins with zombie civilians marching endlessly towards a lone house, being picked off one by one with headshots, and falling into a giant count of bodies as Kitty Pryde continues to take aim from the upper level. Hearing the word mom being called out from inside the house, Kitty goes down the stairs to find her son Peter, saying he thinks something is inside the walls. We see that they have monitors rigged up to give them a security camera view of the outside walls, and Peter says that he hadn't seen anything get in. Kitty hears a scratching right inside of the wall and immediately opens fire, yelling for her son to get back and looking inside to find a black kitten that had somehow managed to find its way to the house without getting killed, noting that it's underfed but otherwise healthy. Peter names the cat Blackie, which Kitty remarks is super original, and we see more of their lives in the zombie apocalypse. While Kitty works in a greenhouse where they grow their own produce, Peter marks off each day on a calendar and keeps track of his dad's birthday, which is the only holiday he knows of. When he sees that it's October 27th, he spells out the word Halloween on the calendar, and Kitty explains to him what the concept of the holiday was, how before the plague, people would dress up and go house to house for candy and try to scare each other. While Peter asks questions, we see a zombie step on one of many landmines Kitty set up around the greenhouse and being completely obliterated. Finding Blackie in one of her pots, Kitty tells Peter that he needs to keep an eye on her or he'd be chasing the cat everywhere, and Peter looks up and asks if they could celebrate Halloween. Kitty says that holidays are for a community, not just two people, and that it would be a distraction from trying to stay alive. Peter asks if they'd do it if his dad were still alive, and Kitty says that the reason he's gone is that she got distracted, and that she can't ever let her guard down again to keep him safe. Peter pulls the cat to him and tells Kitty that there's 3 of them again, and that if they can't ever have any fun, there's no point in staying alive to begin with. This gets through to Kitty, and a few days later, Kitty has scavenged Halloween supplies from the basement of the house and finds a child-sized Wolverine costume for Peter, who says he would have preferred to be Spider-Man. Kitty says that while not everyone considered Wolverine a hero, he was her hero, pulling out jack-o'-lanterns she made from greenhouse-grown pumpkins and other decorations from the basement. When Peter still looks disappointed, she asks what's wrong, and he says that Kitty told him there'd be candy. Kitty grabs her gun and says that she can probably find some candy in a burnout store in town, telling Peter to stay in the house and wait for her to get back. After Kitty leaves, Peter notices with horror that Blackie got out into the yard, and when he goes out to call the cat back, it playfully runs off between the zombified corpses, with Peter running out after his pet as the door to the house clicks shut behind him. Wandering through the abandoned street of the destroyed town, Peter comes across a randomly modern and completely undamaged house, with electricity and lights on placed on the street. Walking up and knocking on the door, Peter is greeted by an evil-looking old man who says that he's dressed foolishly, and that it isn't even Halloween tonight, but the night before Halloween, disappointing Peter who thought he had counted the days right. The man tells Peter to come back tomorrow for trick-or-treat, and then he'd help him, but Peter stops him and says that he's looking for his cat, with the man slamming the door saying that he should be more worried about what else is walking the streets at night. Walking away dejected, Peter then turns around to ask how long the man had been surviving out here, to find the entire house disappeared and only an empty lot left behind him. Suddenly, Peter sees a small black animal flip past him, chasing after it assuming it's Blackie, but the creature whirls around and attacks him, showing that it's a zombified squirrel. The squirrel bites through Peter's costume but doesn't break the skin, and suddenly the mini Wolverine is attacked by zombified versions of multiple characters, including LSD and Alex Wilder from the Runaways, Alex Powers from the Power Pack, Darkhawk, and Squirrel Girl, who now commands an army of zombie squirrels. Darkhawk and LSD fight over who gets to get the first taste of flesh, and Alex Powers contains Peter in a zero-G force field while the zombies all surround him. When Peter says he's just looking for his cat, the zombie heroes laugh in his face and prepare to rip him to shreds. Suddenly, Powers is ripped apart by gunfire, and Kitty tells Peter to come to her. Peter whirls around and stabs zombie Darkhawk in the eyes with his claws, which it turns out are made with real knives, and Kitty grabs him, running for the nearest building. Phasing herself and Peter through the wall of a school, they find themselves face to face with Zombie Squirrel Girl's entire army of zombie squirrels, allowing all of the zombie heroes to catch up to them. As they close in on Kitty, the zombies hear a laughter echoing through the halls, turning to see the man from the house Peter visited slowly making his way to them, calling the zombies children, and clicking his teeth as the zombies are set on fire from the inside out. As the man tells the zombies that out of all of the threats to humankind he had witnessed, the zombies were the most efficient, but the least imaginative, that their mindless pursuit of food simply bores him. With the zombies now burned to cinders, Mephisto takes his true form, cornering Kitty and her son, saying that there are so few souls left to claim in this world, and that he would do what he could to protect them until they decided to sign their afterlives over to him. Kitty says that she'll never let him have Peter, and he simply says that countless mothers' souls have been given over to him for the exact same reason. Letting them go for now, Mephisto calls back to Peter, who he calls Piotr after his father, Colossus, to remember this moment when Mephisto returns to make his offer later. Back at their house, Kitty tells a crying Peter that the future isn't predestined, and that Peter never has to make the choice to sell his soul to Mephisto. Peter asks her if Colossus had, and Kitty says that his father was the most noble and honest man she had ever known, and had walked past Mephisto's offer without even acknowledging that he had been there. Colossus had believed until the end that humanity would recover from the plague, and had never given up hope. Peter asks Kitty if she believes that too, and she says that it's Halloween, and that the dead, the true dead, not the zombies, were with them, and so she believes too. Kitty then gestures to a jack-o'-lantern and says that she had found him a present while she was out looking for him, and when he looks in, he hugs her and cries out in joy, seeing that Blackie was tucked inside safely. Kitty apologizes because she still couldn't find any candy, and Peter says that he has everything he needs right here. And that wraps up Marvel Zombies Halloween, a surprisingly cute and sweet story set in a violent, dismal, apocalyptic nightmarescape of the Marvel Universe. Knowing the extent of convoluted nonsense that the main Marvel Zombies series devolved into following volumes 1 and 2, I was very skeptical of a one-shot self-contained story coming after that, but was very pleasantly surprised to find that Marvel Zombies Halloween is not only a solid Halloween story, but a solid Kitty Pryde story as well. I've always enjoyed Kitty as a character, and her relationship with Colossus playing so much into it was done extremely well. Seeing as we did see Wolverine and a few of the other X-Men briefly in Marvel Zombies Volume 1, it's also interesting finding out what happened to a few of the other X-Men characters in this universe. So I hope you guys enjoyed this month of horror themed episode of Comic History, and for the rest of October I will be doing episodes centered around Halloween or horror in general, and then moving back to regular episodes carrying on stories that we've already started after that. I want to give a big thanks to everyone who has stuck around during this period of time where I haven't been able to make videos consistently. I am planning on being back full-time now, so be on the lookout for more great content on the way. If you enjoyed this video or would like to support my channel, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and if you are so inclined, check out my Patreon, where you can get access to exclusive videos and other cool rewards while helping me keep doing videos. This month's video and last month's will be available to all $5 and up patrons, and $10 patrons get their name, YouTube channel, or website promoted at the end of each video that month. Thanks to Drew Miles for being a $10 patron and helping this channel keep going, and I will see you all next time.